welcome to 10,000 Miles, episode number 9. Tonight's guest is three-time Olympic medalist Crissy Perham, a swimmer from the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. We're going to hear a great story tonight from Crissy. She is a fun person, full of life, full of energy, funny, very, very funny, obviously very driven. And the stories that she has around her journey to the Olympics, what it takes to win and succeed and compete, and the mindset and attitude and dedication is riveting. Let's dive in. Hi, Crissy. How are you?
What's up, Vic?
Oh, things are great. It's so nice to see you. It's been a while.
It has been a while, but it was fun to see your face pop off.
Yeah, same here. Same here. You look exactly the same, by the way.
I'm a little bit wrinklier. I wish that there was a better filter. I'm looking for the Barbara Streisand filter.
Yeah, it's you're gonna look amazing. We'll make sure of it.
Awesome.
Hey, why don't you start by telling the audience who you are?
Well, most importantly, I am a fellow CrossFitter with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we met. But if you go a little bit further back, I think I'm a little bit more successful in my swimming career. I'm a 1992 Olympian swimmer, captain, 2 golds and a silver, world record. And that was almost 35 years ago.
That was Barcelona, right?
And it's feels like yesterday sometimes when I watch swimming or get a chance to talk about it. And then other times I even forget there was a time where I could have been an elite athlete. So
it's incredible. I was putting my list together for guests on the show, and there's a lot of criteria. One, I have to say, can I talk to that person for an hour and a half? So boom, you check that box because I know we're not going to have any problem there.
Right. I think we did that once at a Starbucks once.
We did. I actually have the picture, by the way. I may post it up. But a lot of criteria. But, I'm trying to really include people who have great stories. And I know when we met and we talked a little bit about your journey, I've still recalled it to this day. It's just a fantastic story. So, wow, 2 golds and a silver. That's a huge, huge accomplishment. When we met at that Starbucks, by the way, and you showed my friend Don the medals,
Mm-hmm.
he still talks about it to this day. He said to say hello. I just want to let you know that.
Awesome.
And that was still
a fun afternoon.
He said it was a very special moment. And I have the picture of you guys, and I resent it to him.
Awesome.
And he's like, man, you just if she's coming on your show, tell her I said hello.
Very cool.
Yeah. So to be an Olympian, let alone a 2-time gold and a silver medal winner and a world record holder, I'm sure it didn't happen after 3 laps in the pool.
Yeah, no. The whole 4-minute workout guy or whatever, it was a little bit longer than and a little bit more focused.
It wasn't just 6-minute abs. You didn't do 6-minute abs and things were good.
Abs. Sadly, I wish that I could still get 6-minute abs. It was a journey, and I have used that phrase and that specific word a lot because it just like the saying, life is a journey, not a destination, and it really was something. A lot of it was obviously purposeful and chosen, and then also, people present themselves in your life and opportunities are presented to you, and you have to be either willing to jump when it's there, or you're prepared to jump, or, a lot of it is luck and timing. And so I do call it a journey. I do. Clearly life is still a journey, but that's a big part of this journey.
Yeah, that's a crazy journey. So take us back. How did you get into swimming?
So I grew up in a super sporty family. Both my parents were college athletes. I had a couple uncles that were college athletes, a lot of cousins that were, my brother was. And so I always grew up doing sports. I always assumed that I would go to college and be an athlete. That was something oh, my parents did that. I'm totally going to do that too.
Just going to happen.
So I grew up in a really small town in Iowa, and I did everything. I played basketball, softball, ran track. I was on the wrestling team. I did, pump, pass, and kick, and swam a little bit on the side, and that was kind of what a lot of people our generation did. Like, we really didn't specialize. We just participated, and there weren't really like travel baseball and travel volleyball. Like, we didn't really have those things so much as we do now. So which I was happy for, because I had a chance to do a lot of other things, along with like being in the band and the choir, and just I had a really full childhood.
You were in the band?
I was in the band.
What'd you play?
The trombone.
Nice.
Yeah, it was easy. It's like 7 notes. It's I never could get the hang of. I really wanted to play the saxophone or the trumpet. But that's a lot of like, no, I'm not that good.
Yeah, little in, little out,
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. So like, you have 7 positions. Piece of cake.
That's fantastic. Okay. Yeah. I might take up trombone now. That's actually,
I think you should.
A pretty good way to look at it.
And what's really interesting is, because we're always the trombone, we're always the background of every big orchestra, every jazz band. Like, I was in all, like, marching band, all of that stuff. I did all that stuff. I feel like now, as a person who enjoys music and likes to sing along and do karaoke and all that thing, like, I think my background in music is a lot of like, still makes me interested in other new artists that I've never heard of, or if someone's like, oh my God, I think you'll love listening to this, and they recommend something and you're like, I do. And I credit my band teacher, Mr. Coberly. He is amazing. I'm still in touch with his family.
That's fantastic.
And him and his wife, but also their kids and grandkids and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Had everything. So anyway, when when you get to high school and you start realizing what you're good at. My favorite sport was basketball. And I never missed a day of basketball practice. I loved open gym, and track was also my favorite. And I was totally set on being the next Evelyn Ashford, Olympian, United States Olympian sprinter. And swimming was something I was good at and just kind of did. But when it starts making an impact on you, like, college coaches are recruiting you, and I'm not
that
mostly.
When did that happen? So did you start swimming before high school?
Yeah, so I always like swam on the side, like
competitively.
Swam summers in Walnut Creek, California, where my grandparents are from, where my mom is from, and then I'd spend my summer doing that, and then I'd come back to Iowa, and like, the fall is we would swim, winter is basketball, spring is track. Then, like, I kind of had my thing going.
Sport.
Yeah, but I didn't. I thought I would be good enough to swim in college, but I wasn't. That was not what was driving me. I really wanted to run track.
Okay.
But like, sometimes things pick you.
Yeah.
And
sometimes. How about all the time?
Right. So you think, especially when you're like 16, 17, 18, like, you just know everything. Which I was just sure I did know everything. And then you realize, like, oh, you're a pretty good swimmer and you're getting a lot of attention for swimming. Like, maybe you should think about being a swimmer in college. And so I ended up getting a couple scholarship offers. Ended up going to the University of Arizona on a full ride, which they don't even really do that anymore. The scholarships are broken up way different than they were back in the day. And I was the 13th best freshman out of 13 freshman girls.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, because I was a part-timer. Like, I wasn't even so many around. So it was very an inauspicious beginning.
How was the coaching in college? Where did you receive most of your development? Was it there?
So the club program that I swam with in the summers in Walnut Creek, the head coach was actually a 1960 Olympic gold medalist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was in touch with him until he passed away. I think he passed away like 6 years ago.
Okay.
Um, he made a huge impact, and he was like very much like a Bobby Knight kind of coach.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but my dad didn't like throw chairs at us or whatever, but my dad is also very demonstrative and very loud, and like our whole family is like, we're really loud, and it doesn't mean anything. We're just really loud, and um he was that kind of coach, and he made it really clear that he had high expectations for me.
Okay.
And so that kind of was like the Mike Troy and the assistant coach, a guy named Rick Millington, those two were definitely the people that kind of planted the seed. Like you're doing this like a couple times, like a couple months out of the year, and you just made junior nationals. Like, do you think you should think about it a little bit more?
Get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then when I went to college, the head coach at the time at the University of Arizona, my freshman year, was Dick Jokos. And just to tell you a little bit about Dick, which apparently I have a type, he was also kind of like a Bobby Knight kind of guy, which I love.
Okay.
I love like high energy people apparently.
Okay.
But we had T-shirts that said Dick Jokos before he dicks you. That's kind of, he was a little tough love kind of guy too. He ended up getting fired at the semester of my freshman year. So then we had an interim head coach, and we completed the season. And then like a month later, a random guy named Frank Bush from University of Cincinnati Bearcats got hired to take over the program. And so I'm going into my sophomore year, and I've already had 3 head coaches.
Holy cow.
I know. And that will send a lot of people away or quit. Like being a college athlete is really hard.
So when
And
you're a college athlete, so now there's just one sport, right?
now there's
In
just one
college.
sport.
There's
Mhm.
one sport. So basketball and track, they're done.
Yeah, I did get recruited by Southern Illinois, and they were going to let me do both.
Okay.
But I wasn't going to get big money, and I needed a full scholarship. My
Okay.
parents were teachers. We didn't have a lot of money. And then my dad and both my parents were 2-sport athletes, but in the 60s.
Okay.
It really doesn't work that way anymore. And my dad was like, I don't know if that's the right path for you. So that's really ultimately like one of the reasons why I ended up just swimming. So yeah, just swimming now in
So
college.
I'm gonna pull you back just a tiny bit. It's freshman year. You're 13 of 13, and now the gears are kicking in, right? Tell me what happened. Like, obviously you started climbing, you started ascending.
Yeah,
There was some
so
switch that probably got turned on in college. Do you recall when
yeah,
that happened?
I am absolutely a competitive person, and that is just
Okay.
like baked in. Like I really don't think that like you can learn how to push yourself, but also you like if you're a distance runner, like that's very singular. But for me, I love team sports. I love racing people and that. So yeah, my freshman year, like I was nothing special. And I treated it kind of shabbily like that. Like I went to maybe 4 out of 10 practices a week.
Okay.
Um, barely went to class, got in a lot of trouble. My parents took my car away. Like I was not excelling. um Mental lobe issues. Um
Not
but
you.
yeah, I know.
No, not you.
But at the end at our NCAA championships, I ended up being an All-American in the 100
Wow.
fly. And I
Okay.
think we were honorable mention in a couple relays, or maybe All-American in a couple relays too. So, and I didn't even really know even what that meant.
Okay.
Like, so really, like I look back on it and I think like that girl was like a really disrespectful person to her sport. Like
Okay.
I really, like I'm shocked that I have managed to maintain relationships in that time of my life, because I was a lot of fun. Like I definitely was at every party and everything, and people liked me, but I wasn't a good teammate. I just
Okay.
spoke. So now
What would others say about you?
Hmm?
What do you think others would say about you during that time?
My closest friends from that time, and I'm still close with a lot of people that I swam with at the University of Arizona. In particular, a couple guys that I trained with, and like our spouses know each other, and we know each other's kids or whatever. Like, we haven't gotten like super deep about it,
Okay.
but like they'll be the first ones to be like, "Yeah, you were an idiot," but like I was a
Okay.
nice idiot, and I'm like, well, why? Like, they're like, well, you're fun to train with, and like you swam fast. Like, it wasn't like you were, a jerk or whatever. You just never came to practice. We just felt like we could never count on you, but then you'd show up at a meet and you'd win.
Holy
So
cow.
a lot of it is like, I don't I don't I don't look back on it as anything other than like I'm lucky that I never got kicked off the team, because
Yeah.
look at how like the growth pattern. Clearly there were people there that had patience, and I had the opportunity to have someone care about me and keep me engaged until the frontal lobe, developed, or I,
Yep.
realized my own potential.
When did that happen?
So my sophomore year was a little less of a struggle, but
Okay.
still, kind of half-assed in practices and half-assed in school. And Frank, had rolled into kind of a mess of a program as a head coach. So he's not going to get rid of an All-American like when he rolls in, right?
Yeah.
He's going to give me a year to hang myself, and then
Yeah.
he'll have a reason to kick me off the
Yeah.
team.
You're going to have to earn that ejection.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
I gave it my best shot. So at the end of my sophomore year, again, All-American, right? So full
Okay.
of myself now. Really, like,
Two-time All-American.
yes,
Yeah.
multiple time, because in swimming you get it for every relay, and yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but Frank and I were just like,
Really?
oh yeah, like he could probably see the writing on the wall. Like, I don't even care that this girl is fast. Like, she's an idiot. She, like, I don't need a bad apple. I'm making my own program here. I don't need a bad apple.
Okay.
So we finish NCs and we're on deck, and Frank is like, this is Frank when he gets really mad. Hey, Crissy, I'm not angry with you right now. Like, you're not so much. Yeah. So at NCs, we start kind of going at it, and I'm super sassy, and he starts yelling at me. Like, I
Nice.
knew that I had really made him mad.
Yeah.
And he was like, when we get back, I don't want to see you for 2 weeks. I was like, all right. You know how teenagers are.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I don't want to be there anyway. And we went home, and I would get up in the morning and I'd go running, and gonna enjoy my 2 weeks of not swimming. And I woke up one day, my alarm went off, and I it's like a core memory, and I talked about it a lot, and both my boys know about it, but like it really happened like this. My alarm went off. It's Arizona. It's already getting hot. It's like 5 a.m. I was like, excuse my French, this fucking sucks. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're such a loser. Like, you have all this given
Here's
to
the
you.
epiphany.
Yeah, that
Here it
is the
is.
word I've used.
Yeah. Here's the epiphany.
I don't mean it in a sacrilegious way. Like, it
Yeah.
literally was like outside of my body, like me, like, what are you doing? You are pissing away this opportunity. You're never going to get another chance like this. Look at how far you've come, whatever. So, and that was like a random Tuesday. So I called Frank, because, I'm not supposed to be there for
Yeah.
another 10 days or whatever. And I called him and I said, hey, Frank, I think that we need to have a meeting. And he was like, I agree. Because I think he thought I was going to quit.
Oh, okay.
And he's all like, yes. I hope I don't have to kick her
She's
off.
going to make it easy on me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I go to McHale, where the basketball team practices, and we're sitting in the stands. And I am turning to him, and I'm deadly serious, and I'm telling him, like, hey, I want to apologize. I had not been bringing my best self. I know that I'm not helping the team as much as I could. I was being a distraction with my attitude and missing stuff and whatever. And I really felt like I was like laying it on the line with him.
Yep.
And I said, I want to be the swimmer that you want me to be. Like, I want to be that girl for you. And he
Wow.
was like, all right, well, I'll see you at practice. And like,
That was it.
yeah. And I
Wow.
remember kind of like being pissed, like, dude, like, I just like poured my heart out to you and you're so dismissive. But like, I get it. I'm the boy that cried wolf, right?
He didn't believe it. He was like, okay, show me.
Why would you believe this person?
Yeah.
She's so lazy, you know? So the next day I go to practice and warm up, whatever it is, I do it. We do weights, whatever it is, I'm doing it. We're doing preseason running, I'm doing it. We're racing in practice, I'm doing it. We're doing crazy send-offs, I'm picking the fast lane, I'm doing it. Like that, for those 12 weeks, everything he said to do, I did it exactly the way he wanted me to do it.
Okay.
And I was gonna put whatever I could in, and then if it's nothing special, I guess we're gonna have to have another talk.
Okay.
Because now I'm doing what you said. You know, better be good, right? Like,
How did Frank's advice turn out?
at the end of that summer, I won my first national championship.
Wow. Unreal.
Yeah.
What did Frank say about that, by the way?
So I've told this story, and I get a lot of people that mock me about it sometimes because they've heard it before. But like, he saw something in me before I knew. And when I finally figured it out and I touched the wall and I, put together a summer and I put together that race and I looked up at the clock and it said a number 1 by it. When I turned around to the other end of the pool where Frank was, he was like,
unreal. Like, yeah, I told you.
The red sheet, you've always had the power, Dorothy.
Wow.
You know? And so when we talked about journey and stuff like that, and the path, and it's not linear, whatever, I also think it's vitally important when I talk to young people or I'm mentoring people leaving college, or there's a young person that works at Charlie's company. There are going to be people in your life that will change your path. And you don't always know who they're going to be, but if you find people out there that care about you, they will help you.
There's always someone.
Right.
There's always
and even
someone.
if they can only help you this much, they might introduce you to someone that helps you this much. And then that person helps you, and so that's when they talk about, like, don't bring the ladder up behind you either,
Yeah.
You just don't know. And so for me, obviously I was talented. I was at a university that, because my coach had been fired and all that stuff, like there was not a lot of homeostasis at the time. So I didn't get kicked off. Maybe another program I would have gotten kicked off.
You might have been aced, yeah.
If my coach had stuck around instead of being fired, or if Frank had been hired as the interim and then the head coach and he'd already had to put up with me for a semester. Like, there are so many what ifs that frame that 12-week summer for me.
Oh, yeah.
My weight coach, who was also from Iowa, and we totally bonded, like, he was another person that had a huge impact on my life. I'm still in touch with him and his wife too. And so some of it is talent, some of it is timing. You got to be in the right place so you can swim. Like, some places don't even have pools and stuff like that, or whatever, if you want to be a swimmer. But a lot of it is the people.
You have to be willing to accept these things and understand that. And, I didn't really learn this at face value early on, but sort of instinctively it was brought to me. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. There's always somebody that sees more in you than you see in yourself. The key is, when do you recognize what they see? I was very, very, very lucky. I had a grandfather who saw more in me than anybody saw in me. Maybe not anybody. My father was equally as supportive, but more so my grandfather. When I was 5, this guy was like, he propped me up all the time. And he had his Italian, Brooklyn English accent. Vittorio, my God, look at him. He's like a Bruno Sammartino, the wrestler. And he
Yeah.
just thought I hung the moon.
Yeah.
And that made me want to do and be better. It made me want to hang the moon. And so, and my dad was a very cautious guy. So while he believed me a lot, he didn't like risk taking, or he didn't like sort of some of the things I did to, my path to success, because for him, they weren't sure bets.
Mm-hmm.
And on his deathbed, we had a conversation about it, as he was passing from cancer. And he said, I admire you a lot. You have a lot of guts. You tried a lot of things that I would have never tried. And I said to him, hey, it's because of you that I was able to do that. He said, what do you mean? I said, you were born in 1933, dead smack in the middle of the Depression. Grandpa was working for today's food, not for next week's food.
Right.
I said, so he had this very cautious approach to life. They all say a bird in hand is worth more than two in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so your upbringing was influenced by survival.
Yeah.
I said,
and not risk taking.
No, I said, so while you didn't take big risks, I had a bed, I had meals, I had a roof over my head. That was my competitive advantage. So I can go out and be bold. I didn't have to worry. You weren't worried about food tonight. And while you were, we were never wealthy, we had everything we needed.
Mm-hmm.
My father worked very hard. My mother worked hard, and they always found a way.
Yeah.
They figured it out. They always did. But this is a very consistent story about people who recognize something in you that's greater than you recognize yourself. For you to have that moment and go, holy cow, I got this great opportunity. I didn't expect that in this story. There's a lot I didn't expect so far in this story, by the way, and I'm riveted by it.
Yeah, that girl was not all indications prior to that turning that alarm off at 5 a.m. is not the height of good decision making or maturation, and I don't know why it was on that day or where my mind had been or whatever. I knew that I didn't have endless opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I probably could have found a way to another school and gotten help and still become a college graduate, and my life would probably have been fine. But there definitely were things that aligned at the right time. Frank showing up at that time, being on the right team at that time, being the right age, not being a freshman that time, but having a little bit under my belt, or not at the end of my career when it wouldn't matter or whatever.
Yeah.
And, but it was, I wanted to just kind of touch base about your grandpa. I also think it's completely different to have parents who are all consumed by raising you, make sure you got clean clothes. Did you remember your lunch money, homework, all this or whatever? And then having other people who can just lavish you with love or time or attention or whatever without the burden of parenting, which being a parent is hard.
It's very hard.
I was very close with my grandparents, and I think actually maybe we probably talked about this before. That's also a huge reason why, if you have tough love parents or maybe it's not the greatest relationship in the whole world, or you're not getting everything from them because they're busy, putting food on the table and stuff, why you have multi-generational relationships, grandparents or an older neighbor or a really fabulous uncle. Yes.
It's super important. I have a nephew living with me now. Great golfer, came out here. My other nephew is coming at the end of the school year, and we do Golfapalooza. It's my brother's only son. His last name is Pepe. And we've always had a nice relationship, but over the last few years, as he's gotten older, we've gotten really close. He's an athlete as well. He's on a D1 scholarship out at Bryan. He plays lacrosse.
Awesome.
And All-American, great kid. He's actually a great golfer too, but we're going to have a good time. And my wife had said to me, it's so nice that you you invest so much time in the nieces and nephews. I said, the dimensions of family are so important. Like, I'm still very close with my uncle, my father's last living brother. He's in his 70s, comes out, he visits. Last year, he stayed with me for a month. We palled around like buddies, but I want that for my kids. I want to be that for my nieces and nephews. And as you're describing here, I mean, these are gifts, and a lot of people who don't have that, it's unfortunate, but it's
Yeah.
important to invest. And you don't have to be a blood relative.
Right.
Well, it could, like you said, it could be a neighbor, it could be a friend. My buddy Mike lives in town. His kids call me Uncle Vic. And it's funny.
The Sunday morning show or whatever, they did a story about some guy and his wife had passed away and his children and grandchildren live really far away. And he was having a really rough day. And he's at the grocery store waiting in line, and some cute little girl in the cart, next to him was like, do you need a hug? Which, I went off of babes. And he was like, I do. I do need a hug. And they ended up having this 6 or 7 year long relationship before he ended up passing away from this, little connection that they had. But the mother, obviously felt concern for this older man. He loved this younger generation little girl. She was excited for, so I feel like, especially military where we move all the time, you make your connections with the people, they say friends for a reason and friends for a season, but I also think sometimes family can be like that too.
Oh yeah.
It can be, you can be really close with your cousins when you're growing up, like I definitely was, and have years of transition where you're, getting married and going to college or raising children, and it's hard. And then you find your way back to each other again,
Absolutely.
and now you're friends. Not because you're cousins, because you actually like each other's company.
100%.
So
my wife just had my 60th birthday party for me here in the house. We had it in early April. My birthday's in March. There were over 70 people here that flew in from all over the place. And my son said to me the next day, he said, man, that was just there were so many awesome people here.
He didn't mention it was because you're so old, they had a big party. Practically on death's door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I still got some tread on these tires, Crissy.
Right,
So
right.
I still got a few miles. So let's go back. Boom! You touch the wall. You look up.
At Frank.
Number one. You look at Frank. He's like
the wizard, or he's the good witch of the West, and you always had the power. And so that summer, one of my teammates was like, you're having a really great summer. You should probably get a passport because they're picking national team stuff.
Whoa.
And I was like, that seems like bad juju to me.
Okay.
A little bit too cocky, right?
Yeah, a little presumptuous.
Well, yes. But I was like, but that's what I want. I want to win. I want to be on the national team. And so I did. I got a passport. I won that race. And 2 weeks later, I was in Italy on my first national team trip.
Whoa. How does that happen? How does that happen?
They pick, so USA, and they don't do the same every quadrennial or whatever, but USA Swimming has a national A team and a national B team. So if you're familiar with the name Katie Ledecky, obviously,
yeah, sure,
she's the bomb diggity. She's on the national team. She's on the A team. She's our best 400 freestyle girl, 800 freestyle girl. So I, at the time, was on the national team, on the A team, because I was the nation's best 100 flyer. So when we had an international meet, which they pick it based on nationals, 2 weeks later, I was at a big meet in Rome. It was my first time leaving the country.
Unbelievable.
It was insane.
What was that like? How was that experience?
It was awesome. I won over there, and it was ridiculous.
You won?
Yes.
Oh
it wasn't
gosh.
world championships, but it was international meet,
Yeah, big deal.
And you're wearing USA, and there's certain protocols for what you wear on the award stand or what we wear each day as our uniform. And like all this stuff that I like love about sports. Um, yeah, it was crazy. It was
What was the meet like in Rome? Do you have any
so
memories
the
of anything
pool.
specific? Yeah.
The pool was where they had the 60 Olympics, which is where my summer league, he's not summer league, like he was
Uh-huh.
12, but where
Yeah.
Mike had won his gold medal.
Holy cow.
So I was like,
Full circle.
yes, I was like, I'm supposed
Yeah,
to be,
yeah.
I'm supposed to tell him about this. So, that was really cool. I made a ton of friends of people that I'm still in touch with,
Really? From where
um,
all over?
all over. Definitely like USA national team stuff, but
Uh-huh.
one of the girls that swam, she's from the Netherlands. She ended up marrying a guy who I was friends with, who swam from Michigan, and sadly he passed away in a car accident like over
Oh,
the video. But we're still friends. Like I still get messages from her on Instagram, and
that's great.
she's back in Europe. So long lasting memories that really started because I did 2 laps really fast one summer.
Wow. So you're in the pool, you're in your coach's pool from the 60s. That's got to be that I have a similar feeling. We went to Italy on a family vacation in 2014. And my wife surprised me with a trip to Caiazzo. And we were just going, we started up in Venice and came down to Florence and went to Rome, and we were going to go down into to the coast, and we're in a Sprinter, and the driver's like, okay, I got you. And we start going. And I'm looking at Google Maps going, I don't see the
This guy's
water yet.
lost.
Like, we're going the wrong way. And I'm like, and it's funny. Somebody said, oh, you got to watch out when you get to Naples because it's very dangerous there.
We
And I'm
were
like,
just there and stuff.
oh, no, it's not. And I go, we're being fucking kidnapped. That's what I said.
Right.
And so I'm losing it, right? So now I take out the phone and I'm dropping pins, and I've got an email and I'm getting ready to send it to my brother. I'm here. And then off in the distance, I see, it's like from a movie, Crissy. It's a sign, and it's got 1,000 roads faced in every direction, And
Yeah.
you know how when you hold the iPhone and you hold down on the photo button, it takes the rapid fire pictures.
Mhm.
So as we drive by, I take these pictures and I go through and I go, Caiazzo. And I say, are you taking me to my grandfather's hometown? And the whole car like erupts, like I blew the surprise. They all knew
Yeah.
but me, right?
Right.
But the best memory I have that's similar to your experience is my grandfather used to tell me as a kid all the time, Vittorio, the roads here in America, everything in America's great, but the roads, they're shit. You get potholes, they're bad. In my town, in my country, the roads are made of these stones. They're going to last for 1,000 years. This
The
big,
Romans
this
probably
big.
laid them down.
Probably. And I'm telling you, the side of the van opened. I put my feet down, and the first thing I wasn't thinking about it until my feet hit those stones.
And you're
I
like,
started
that's it.
crying.
Yeah.
Started crying. I was like, holy cow. He was born in 1901. I'm there in 2014. It's a long way. So back to you, because my counter is up here. You are you just won in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
What happens from there?
So
Now you're kind of a big deal.
I definitely there is a shift in the momentum.
Okay.
The atmosphere has changed.
Okay.
So I go back to the University of Arizona now as the reigning national champion. But
Wow.
I'm going to some college, and I still am like super hungry. Like
Okay.
you get a little taste like that, especially like someone like me. Like I'm the dog that got the bone. Like now I
Dopamine.
want that bone and
Yeah.
that bone and your bone, and I want all the
I'm gonna
bones.
take all the
I'm
bones.
taking all the bones.
Okay.
So the head coach is Frank, who you've already had a chance to kind of get to know.
We're old friends.
We're old friends now. My group coach as a sprinter is a guy named Rick DeMont, who was a 1972 Olympian.
Okay.
So now he's just like, oh yeah, like this is getting good, right? So and I train with guys, just the whole vibe, like, vibe check, like the whole vibe is different. I have a great first semester. We're coming up on, I do fine at Pac-10s at the time is what they were. Then they were
Yep.
Pac-12. Now they're nothing. That's another
Yeah.
story for another day.
Okay.
I do find at conference, I think I won. I don't know. It doesn't matter. My focus is to shave and taper for women's NCs, which are in March.
Okay.
I go to the meet. The first day is the 100 freestyle,
Okay.
and I get third in the 100 free.
You're
I
like,
wasn't even
well,
top
somebody-
16 the year before.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh yeah, this is,
Okay.
I'm gonna kick ass. Like, I'm just telling you. I swim the 100 fly the next day and win. So now I have my first college national championship.
Wow.
And I broke an American record held by Mary T. Maher, who is basically the Edwin Moses of swimming, or the
Wow.
Michael Jordan of at the time.
Yeah,
like
sure.
the Katie Ledecky before there was Katie Ledecky.
Okay.
So I break her American record and
Wow.
win. And then the next day, I get third in the 50 free. So I am on cloud 12. Like, I'm past cloud 9. Mary T comes to the meet to meet me because I'm the first person to break one of her records.
Wow.
And she comes up to me. She's like, "Hi, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Mary T. Maher." And I wanted to be like, duh. Like, you're amazing, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, once you get a little taste of that.
Yeah.
So January coming, like a little bit after that. So now, like, I get into my senior year. I've made world championships. Get a little taste of reality at Worlds, and I get fourth in the 100 fly. So I'm out of the medals, but our medley relay one wins, and we break an American record.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I'm going into my senior year, reigning long course champion, reigning short course champion, American record holder. And I'm definitely supposed to win Olympic trials, which are like 2 weeks before NCAAs.
Okay.
And on the first day, so the meet is like 7 days long. And I had made Olympic trials in 3 events. I'd made it in the 100 free, the 100 fly, and the 50 free. And so the first day is the 100 free, and Frank was like, "Hey, we're going to put you in the 100 free. You clearly got some magic going on, and we'll just get the windows out. I'm just going to have a great race." And nationals is different than college. Nationals is everybody.
Okay.
So it's not just collegiate girls, which is a smaller number. This is any post-grad, anybody that's not in college yet, which, you know, there are a ton of young, really great young female swimmers that are high school age. And I swim prelims of the 100 free, and I make it back to finals.
Nice.
So now I'm top 8. And kind of exciting because if I get top 6, I am on the free relay for the Olympics.
Holy cow.
On the first day. And this was like a junk event for me. Like, I hate to even talk about it like that because, like, people train and never make an Olympic team, and I'm not dismissive of it at all. But, like, I think some of, like, my not lackadaisical, like, my nonchalantness of that event kept me loose. So if I get first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, or sixth, I can go to the Olympics. So my mom and dad didn't even come to the meet yet because I wasn't even swimming the 100 fly for a couple more days.
Okay.
So I swim that race, and I got 6th. Or no, I got 5th.
Okay.
So I am
now
now
you're going to the Olympics.
An Olympian.
Holy cow.
So this is pre-cell phone. I cannot wait to tell my mom and dad. So I go running out to the lobby to use a payphone.
Yeah.
I have no money on me.
Call and collect.
Standard. Exactly. Yeah. So I'd like to make a collect phone call. What's the number? Tell her the number. Says, and your name. I said, just say it's from an Olympian. And she's like, I'm going to need a name. I said, say Olympian. They're going to know. Just say that when the person answers. So it rings, and you hear my dad go, hello, you know. And she's like, hi, sir, we have a collect call from an Olympian. Will you accept it? He's like, oh my God. And she's like, sir, I need to know if you will accept the charge. Oh, my, Candy, Chrissy's on the phone. Like, the whole house is exploding. And she's now the operator's like, sir, I need to know if you're going to accept this phone call. So he says yes. And I was like, Dad. And I don't hear anything. And I don't hear anything. And I don't hear
Okay.
anything. And then I hear him like bawling.
Bawling. That's
on the-
amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, let's pause here for 1 second. I want to unpack a little something here. We haven't even touched it yet. It's really my favorite thing to talk about when people have success. I want to go into mindset. I want to know what you're thinking, how you're mentally preparing for these races at practice, what you're doing during practice, what you're thinking about when you're on the block, right? Let bring us a little bit under the hood a little bit. Tell us about,
So
how that goes.
something that you and I have in common is CrossFit. So we're just gonna talk about it like it's CrossFit. One of the many things that we talk about at CrossFit is not like how much weight are you throwing around? Oh, you come 7 days a week, whatever.
Yeah.
It's technique. How are you doing it? Can you do it repeatedly the correct way? Can you do it without injuring yourself because you're trying to do too much in the wrong way? Or you saw, Steve over here, deadlifting 500 and you're at 400 and now you're going 480 and you have no business doing that because you haven't built up to it right. Your technique isn't correct, whatever. That summer, those 12 weeks where I told you I'm going to do everything Frank says, one of the things about swimming is that as a girl who is only 5'8" on a good tall day, swimming against girls that are 6 feet tall.
Okay.
I have great technique.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that comes from my parents who were coaches and teachers and also did sports. Like my dad would, you can hit a home run too. Just, you don't need to be as big as her. You swing the bat faster. You got, better mechanics. You're stepping into it better. It's all the same thing. So in swimming, one of the things that is like a touchstone, like everybody should be doing this, is a streamline. I never went off a wall without a perfect streamline. Those 12 weeks that carried over.
Tell me what a streamline is.
This is a streamline. You put one hand on top of the other, and then I have bad shoulders, so I can't do it both.
Okay.
So you like this, and if you watch, you'll watch Olympic trials. They'll come up, and then you watch the Olympics. Streamline is like, that's a train.
It's okay. We like trains.
Okay.
The people of 10,000 miles love trains.
Follow through on throwing a football. So if you're throwing a football and you see someone like do this, so you're like, that's terrible technique. Like you need to step back, you need to turn your body, or following through on hitting a baseball or softball, following through on your backhand. So that's one of those just cornerstones of swimming. I never made a mistake off a wall ever for 2 years.
Wow.
Ever.
Okay.
Another thing is you never breathe off the wall. So this would be like in running. If you're doing the 100-yard dash, how many times you see, well, Usain Bolt is maybe not a good example because he did look around. But like if you watch Gabby, oh my gosh, I'm going to think of her last name right now, or Shakari Richardson or whatever.
Okay.
Like you watch those sprint girls now and they are like this, blinders, right? One of the things for swimming is you never breathe off the wall. So for 2 years, I never took a breath off the wall. You have all this momentum on your streamline. You have all this speed going. It's the fastest you're going. And then you'll see lazy swimmers or bag swimmers or not as experienced sometimes. And they'll be in the streamline. And then the first thing they do is they go right off the wall. So for 2 years, I didn't do it. So that kind of like...
When do you take your first breath?
After my second stroke.
After your second stroke.
Always.
Tell me why that makes a difference.
So in swimming, the fastest part of your race is your dive and coming off the wall.
Okay.
So if you are, it's a really good way to imagine it is like a kayak. Like if someone was behind you and pushed your kayak from a wall, you're not going to stick your oar in right after they push you off and start paddling. Oh, look, no, we're all going past it. No, you're going to like feel that. You're going to feel the speed pick up. Then you're going to feel that just that little moment where, okay, I'm putting my oar in now, or my paddle, and now I'm gonna like get it going.
Got
So
it.
a lot of it is just momentum. It's
Okay.
just technique. It's just momentum.
Okay.
So those kind of like singular, um, I think it like played into a little bit of my OCD
Okay.
where like I did it the same every time. And once I made that a habit, I literally could not do it.
Okay.
So a lot that mindset is really it did start in practice. I'm a great racer or I'm a gamer. That's what Frank would be like. I'm never worried about you like racing hard. I never feel like I need to pump you up before I race. I'm never worried about you being too tired for a relay. Like
Okay.
you're gonna crush. But that mindset, like you do have to do the work before you get to the arena,
Of course.
you know? And having kind of like I said, I was the dog that got the bone and I wanted all the bones. Like that the aperture becomes really like this is all I want, you know? And you're
When
gonna
you
do all those things and not only are you gonna do them, you're gonna assume that you've done them better than everybody else.
when you were preparing, when you were on, getting ready for a race, or maybe you're at the event, what did you ever reflect on your practice up until that point? Was there anything you said to yourself as you were getting ready to go? Like,
Both Frank and Rick were always like, he's in the barn. Like,
yeah,
don't even worry about it. Like you're gonna crush. Like he's in the barn.
okay,
So like walking out to Olympic trials for the 100 fly,
yeah,
which is the event that I won by a lot. Like I crushed the field at Olympic trials.
uh-huh,
Um I had walked up to Frank before I was going to the ready room, which we all remember like the Michael Phelps like face. That's the ready
yeah,
room. Um I walked up to him, I was like, hey, like I'm getting ready to go to the ready room. He's like, go take it, girl. I was like,
nice.
fuck yeah. That's what I
You
said.
know, I watch a lot of YouTube. It's kind of like my TV, and I'm a glutton for this type of conversation. And I'm into golf. We play a lot of golf. My son's really good at golf. My nephew's here playing golf. And I love the interviews about the work done on the practice, in the practice range, and on the practice greens and the chipping areas. And just an interview with Scotty Scheffler a little while back where he said, I'm focused on only a couple of things when I'm competing. I'm focused on competing because I love it. There's an energy to it. And I'm focused on having a good time. He said, because I've done so much work in preparation, and you talk about being able to repeat it and do it and train it and getting your reps in. He said, I'm not thinking about anything I've done. I just know I've put in the work.
Mhm.
Tiger Woods, also would say if he was in a predicament on a golf course, he was never thinking of the shot he had to make on the golf course. He was like, oh, I did that one on the range Wednesday, Thursday, a week ago, and I did that 400 times.
Yeah. I already hit
Yeah,
20 balls out of the sand trap
yeah,
over here.
yeah.
I already,
And it
yeah.
made a hook to the right. I mean, this is like, so Tiger would always say he would, and it's interesting, he would break up the range into panes, and he could see the panes in the clouds or in the sky, and he'd be sending balls through these visual panes in these areas and shaping them and getting to land. So when he was on the course, he was just able to recall the practice and the confidence of having to do it so many times.
I literally did it the same way for 2
Really?
years.
You
Same
did.
stroke count, same like everything
Same stroke count.
at every race.
Tell me about stroke count.
So in short course, which that's the one I did more. Long course is summer. That's what you see at the Olympics. Long course is a 15-meter pole. Short course is 25 yards. I would dive in and I would go 5 strokes and then 7, 7, 7. And I did it like I swam the same race. Like it's like a figure skater. They do the same routine over and like till they're unable to not do it, incorrectly. Whereas like if they fall and hop up, they already know in the music where they're supposed to be. So
Ah,
on the rare chance that my goggles like tweaked or like I swallowed water on it, which happens, whatever,
yeah.
and had to like shorten the stroke, whatever. I still knew, okay, well that was kind of a rough start or whatever, but you got 3 more laps, 7, 7, 7.
Yeah.
And I would never breathe on the last 4 strokes going into the wall. Like those kinds of things, like anybody that does sports, but if you're a piano player and you're doing a recital, if you are a singer, if
Yeah.
those kinds of things, I feel like it is the repetition that makes the athlete. Like, obviously, Tiger Woods is already a good golfer.
Yeah.
He's so talented. Scotty Scheffler, they're obviously very talented. They're obviously very driven.
Oh,
They have
yeah.
obviously had great coaches and all
Yeah.
stuff. But there is something in there that like sends off the endorphins of like, okay, this time I'm gonna hook it to the like 200 yards up into the blah blah blah. Like, and
Yeah.
then they do it.
And they do it. Tiger, even at this age, I think it was a 4 to 6 weeks ago, they were asking him, "Hey, how is your preparation for tournament? Is it different?" He said, "Well, it's different because I'm always in pain."
He's
He said,
older.
"So I'm walking a lot less." He said, "But my prep otherwise is almost the same." He said, "I put a club face on a ball 1,000 times a day in all my days leading up to me going out to facility to play." He said, "Some days I'm putting 600 strokes. The next day I'm chipping 600 strokes. There's a mix of things, but he's always putting the club face of a golf club, whatever club in the bag, on a golf ball 1,000 times a day." He goes, "It's the only way to burn in a feel. You can't have the feel."
Yeah.
And so it's just interesting. There are so many successful people that leave all these clues. When I hear you, it makes me want to jump in the pool and go, "Oh, 5-7-7-7. Like I can do that." Yeah,
Right?
not with this
I can
body.
teach you
I
how to do
sink,
a streamline. You'd be a superstar.
I sink like a rock in the pool.
I could fix it. I could
uh,
help you.
I bet you can. And maybe someday I'm going to take you up on it. But, um, just, it's this mindset and the focus to stay the course. Crissy, it's the same in business. There are lots of similarities and parallels to people succeeding, in my experience, in corporate America or in whatever they do, how you approach a project. Sometimes I would be at projects at big banks that would last for 18 months, and they'd be grind 50, 60 hours a week, thousands and thousands of tasks, but 5-7-7-7. Same thing. It's like I have a play. They used to say, plan the work, work the plan. And
Yeah, because if you don't have a plan, like
yeah,
not having a plan is planning to fail.
absolutely. And so I love this. Like I never knew. I mean, I kind of instinctively knew, but I've never really had a conversation with somebody who swam at the level that you did to really understand that, and I'm so not surprised. It's like, okay, I got to do this stuff. I got to keep doing this stuff. I got to stay focused on this stuff. Yeah, I have to have the mental attitude and show up to play, but I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to get in the pool. I'm going to do what I do, and I'm just going to do it better than everybody
And
else.
also, it's really empowering when you have to turn and open up that tool bag to be a PM on a big project, or to be an Olympic swimmer or whatever. It's really empowering to go, oh wait, I have all the tools I need right here.
Yeah.
I am a great public speaker. I'm totally organized. I have all of our facts. All the numbers match up. Or for like an athlete, I've been working on my starts and my turns. Like I do the little things well. I have been training in the weight room and running and swimming. My cardio, I'm super fit. I'm eating when I'm supposed to be eating. I am sleeping the way I'm supposed to be sleeping. I am not drinking. I'm not like, and also like, I don't know who the football player was. I took care of my mentals,
Yeah.
and when like all of those things are, when you look and you're like, yep, okay. Like I just would show up and race. Like
Yeah.
I already had everything I needed.
So amazing. So
It's
now
super empowering.
we didn't get to the medals yet.
So
this is where I really I wanted to get to this. I want to get the feeling.
and this is some place that I think also probably another time I will surprise you, because I did have that mentality going in, and I was, ranked number 1 in the world, and I was fast in the world by like almost a full second going in the Olympics. And I'd had a great summer of training and all that stuff, whatever. And I swam prelims and had this like easy race. I remember like looking up at my dad in the stands and being like, because I wasn't seated first going into finals, and I didn't care because I didn't care. I was like, that
Okay.
felt really good, and I made finals. That's the priority. So I was in lane 7, and at Worlds, I told you I kind of underperformed there. I'd gotten 4th. I was
Okay.
seated first, and I got 4th
Okay.
because in prelims, I did what I do. I got up on the blocks, and I just, I just raced.
Okay.
So in the finals of that race, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to kind of take it out a little bit slower, and then I'll really bring it back home. That is not my race.
Okay.
So I got 4th at the
Okay.
Olympics. I was like, swim your race.
Okay.
This is how you need to do this. And I went out, and I was under world record pace at the 50.
Wow.
Turned, coming home. I'm breathing every 2. That's also part of my routine, breathing every other. I
Okay.
see there's a big long line at the bottom of a pool that is the halfway mark. And I was like,
Okay.
25 more meters. You're going to be Olympic gold medalist. Let's go.
You were thinking that
Oh my God. I was like,
at the time?
yeah, I was like, let's go. Like, turn the gas on, like 25 meters, whatever, 15 meters. And then, like, out of my peripheral, which I hadn't in like 2 years, I see a splash. Yeah. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, that, like, someone is racing me. Like, yeah. And I don't turn, I don't look, but I am absolutely aware that that girl is right there. And I swam, it was like another 7 strokes or whatever
Okay.
into the wall, and I touched, and I knew I hadn't won.
Okay.
And it was one of those things like I had been doing this for so long, and the one time this is like a Dutch. Couldn't figure out what that noise was. That was my mouth.
It's okay.
That one time I just like, and that was it. And I got second by 12/100ths of a second.
Wow. That was the silver. Okay. But that was the
And it
first
took
medal,
me,
right?
yeah, and it took me, so I won a gold medal in the free relay a couple days earlier.
Oh, earlier. Okay.
Yeah. Then I had the 100 fly, and then a couple days later we won a gold medal and broke the world record in the medley.
Wow.
But that silver, that messed me up for like a solid 6 months. So I got back from the Olympics, and I was done with my college eligibility, so I could make money. Like, I had signed a contract with Arena, the swimsuit company. I was making appearances and doing all that stuff. And like maybe a week, 2 weeks after I swam, like maybe a week after I got back, I got invited to speak at this big, like, national convention of car dealers.
Okay.
Jim Click in Tucson was a huge supporter of mine.
Okay.
Still love him and his family, and he had asked me to be the keynote speaker.
Okay.
And I gave my speech. I only had to speak for like 10 minutes or whatever. And then he said, does anybody have any questions? And someone asked me about my silver medal. And I started talking, and I was like, just a second. And I'm in a room with like 1,000 old dudes. And I probably stopped and like stood at the podium in silence for like 30 seconds. It felt like 5 minutes. And I was mortified. First of all, I
Wow.
hate crying, but I'm an emotional person.
Okay.
Like, so I couldn't like help it. And then the more I tried not to cry, then I would like get even more teary. And I literally was just like this. And I like looked up to like apologize. And like every face I could see like had tears in their eyes.
Wow.
Because we've all wanted something and worked like really, really hard and done all the right things, and it didn't turn out the way you wanted. Like,
Yep.
we've all had that experience. you know? And it was
100%.
yeah, and so it was I don't know, another epiphany for me that like sometimes you can do all the things that you're supposed to do and do everything right and do it there like it's not empty validation to be like, did you try your hardest? We're still proud of you. We still love you, you know? But it took me a little bit
When did
to
you come around, and what was there a thing? Was it time? Was
yeah,
there
I
something
mean,
you
part of it was
realized?
like I was embarrassed with how cocky I was, and like I felt like I was full of myself and I deserve that. Like I'm a good Catholic girl. Like I love to self-flagellate and um felt guilt and shame. And but like understanding when I was talking to kids that the winning it feels great, but there is value in doing your best and being
Yeah,
able to walk away from that. And really, it was like having to repeat my story like once a week for the next 6 months in front of,
really.
I mean, if there's a harder audience to talk to, it's a bunch of like fourth graders because they're just like, well, why didn't you win?
Yeah,
Like, why don't you have all gold medal?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why don't you have one of each? Like, why do you have, why, how come you didn't get a bronze? You
yeah,
only saw 3 events. Like,
yeah.
why didn't you go to 1988? Like, and they're not asking to like belittle your accomplishments. They want to know.
Of
So they
course.
want to understand, like, why are you sad about a silver medal? Like, did you not try your hardest? Because my mom tells me as long as I try my hardest, I'm like, it's kids. That's it. So in the long run, I really do feel like getting a little taste of what you don't want sometimes, I don't know, is
It's a very, very hard lesson, and I don't have something to compare it to because I never competed like that in sports. I did compete like that in the workplace. I did, and there was a time where I worked for a company called Bear Stearns, a Wall Street firm, and in 2008 we fell.
yeah, kind of
Run
this
on the
time.
bank,
Mhm. Yeah.
subprime mortgage crisis, 2008. So we were wondering, what's going to happen. We fall in the arms of JP Morgan Chase. And I'm the CIO of a company that Bear Stearns owns, and we are what's called a mortgage distressed asset platform. So we got all bad loans, right? And our
Yeah.
job was to make them good loans to the best of our ability. And then people would put them in different securities, and there was money to be made there. And so they kept us as a separate company for a little while, and I thought I was really great at what I did, great leadership, had lots of success up until that point. And then Washington Mutual Bank falls, and Chase rescues that bank out of receivership. And then September of 2008, they're like, hey, we're going to put these three companies together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move the deck chairs around, right? We're
Yeah.
going to see who
Yes.
sits in what seat. And now they're interviewing for this head position of technology in the mortgage servicing areas. It was broken up much more bifurcated. I'm like, oh, that's me all day long. I got that. I'm better than the next guy. I'm better than this person. I'm up against. I think I'm up against. There are three of us for the gig. There was somebody who had my role at WAMU. There was somebody had the role at Chase, the incumbent,
Mhm.
and there was me. And I'm like, oh, I got this. This is going to be easy. Super accomplished. Got
Been
uh,
around.
great
Yeah.
skills. Got all this stuff. And we all interview for the gig, and I don't get it. I get a great role. And he's like, we're gonna have this other guy, Rad, do this, um, and I paused for a millisecond, and the guy had told me this on the phone. And back then, it wasn't like this, it wasn't video. And he
Right.
said, "You still there?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here." And I paused, and he said, I hope you're okay with it. And I said to him, "Hey, I'm disappointed, but here's what I'm going to do. It's 10 to 5. I'm going to leave here in a few minutes. I'm going to go home. I'm going to dust off my knees. I'm going to feel real shitty about it tonight because I play to win. I said, and tomorrow I'm going to come in and I'm going to attack the role you're asking me to do and to the best of my ability. And we're going to crush it.
Okay.
And I did that. And 2 years later, I got a peer role to the role I would have had, but on the production side of the house. But it's those moments that, you got to decide how you want to move forward.
Yeah.
Because what just happened, you can't replay that.
Yeah.
And the longer you live in the regret of that moment.
Yeah. And I don't, it also, like, I am a really emotional person. And I am glad that the people around me let me be sad.
Yeah.
While also reminding me of, one, my value as a human being is not a gold medal.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a small part of who you are. And two, like, you laid it out on the line. That's all that anybody would ever ask of any athlete.
Yeah.
And that will carry you in 1,000 other places, way more than if, like, maybe the gold medal would have changed the way that I operated and I would have stayed in swimming, whatever. But, like, the lessons that I learned, I still had learned them. I still had value as a person, you know? And, yeah, I also think that I could bring something different to the table when people wanted to talk about, I want to be great at something. Okay, well, you might do everything right and you might not get that. Do it anyway.
There's a huge amount of character built in the second place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, especially when you want it
at
that you
the
do.
time is Seinfeld. Oh, second place. You're the best of all the losers. Like, I can laugh about it now. And Charlie obviously was an Olympic gold medalist or whatever. So I'm always like, then I'm the best Olympian here. But that's the other thing too. It's like, United States people, like Americans, our perspective on the Olympics, we are, in a good way, and this feeds us, we are obsessed with the medal count. And we are obsessed with how many gold medals. Like, that's awesome. That's what keeps, like, high expectations get high results. Like, I love it. That is definitely my mentality. Do you know how many people are the best Americans in something and are Olympians, and you don't know their name because they didn't win a medal? So,
I'm
like,
sure.
who the hell am I to, like, complain about?
High expectations yield high results. That is going to be the name of this episode.
There you go.
That's the nugget.
Because that's the rub, isn't it? Like, I want to have high expectations for the kids that I coach, or my own kids, or myself, or my marriage, or okay, are they realistic? Like, is it going to inspire me to be a better listener for my spouse, or is it gonna, help me, eat better so I can lose weight? Like, expectations. And yeah, you're gonna get what you work for because it's what you expect.
Well, that's a pearl right there. That's a pearl of wisdom. So when you were done with those Olympic races, did you come back and swim anymore?
Not right away. So I came back. I had one more semester of college. So I had like 5 years to do 4, and so I ended up doing 4.5. I was busy all the time traveling. I was doing modeling. Sounds so bougie to say that, but swimsuit stuff or whatever. I was doing clinics and all this stuff, like trying to graduate, and I was already married at the time. And so in January of 93, it's like 6 months after the Olympics, like one morning I'm brushing my teeth and it made me throw up. And so then in September, I had my first baby.
Okay. I was putting that together for a second. I was like, wait a minute. I think I know where we're going.
Everybody gets morning sickness. But yeah, so then I didn't swim. Obviously, I wasn't swimming then. But I did end up getting back in the water and swimming the summer of 95, so I could go to 96 trials. And then I got 5th in the butterfly.
Wow.
So,
how has the Olympics influenced your life?
In a good way, I think it like makes me have higher expectations for me myself and the things that what I bring to the table and how I want to be perceived, the kind of teammate that I want to be in the workplace or as a parent or a spouse. um I think it has made me less afraid to try new things, especially as an Air Force spouse. Like, sure, I'll do that job. Yeah, sure, yeah, you need something there? Yeah, I'll volunteer for that. So,
Yeah.
like, some of that, it makes you like not, and again, like I don't want to be cocky, especially like now I'm almost 54. I really am not cocky, but like it makes you believe like I'm not afraid to try new things. I know
Yeah.
that I'm a good teammate. I know how to work really hard. I know how to set goals. I'm a good mentor. I love to be coached. I love to coach. Like, so all of those things together, like walking away from swimming as an Olympian and a medalist and all that stuff is like awesome. It's fantastic. It's all of this stuff that's feels secondary or tertiary, you know, and it's not. It's the stuff that you built your life on.
I wanna wrap on the highest of high notes, and I've been saving this question for
Did
the
you want me to
entire
sing again? No, I'm
entire
just
night.
kidding.
I might ask you to sing a little bit. I'll sing along with you if that's okay. And
Um,
when you said early on you like karaoke, I'm like, that's a hell of a good time. She's going to be great at karaoke. I just know it.
I'm a queen.
What was it like standing on the podium?
So I kind of briefly touched on this when we started, like, oh my God, 35 years ago, whatever. I don't math. It's close. It's a long time ago.
Yeah,
I had probably been asked that question no less than like probably 20
35
times.
times.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay.
And I I don't have like a succinct answer for it.
Okay.
What I try to tell people is when you watch the Olympics, because most of us that talk about sports, we probably also are Olympic junkies.
Okay.
Um, the last time that you watched, you know, Katie Ledecky getting her gold medal, or like the perfect example is when Michael Phelps was getting his medals at the last Olympics. They won the 400 free relay, not the super duper one where he won 8, but like the next
Yeah.
one I think was Rio
Yep.
or
Yep.
whatever. Um, and you Google the name Ryan Held,
Yeah.
Held. The four of them are standing up there and they're getting their medals and they're playing the national anthem. And here's Micah Phelps. Yeah, here's like Ryan Lochte, I think, Caleb Dressel. And then they pan to Ryan Held and he cannot keep it together.
Really.
He and you can see him just being like, oh my God, dude, like stop crying, and like tries to gather himself and he looks up again and you can just see it in his face. And when we watch people feel those emotions,
Uh-huh.
like that's that's it. Like it's not any different than being drawn in to watching another athlete do it. You know that it is meaningful to them. It is heavy, it is emotional.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and when you're standing there, like, and I was a captain, like one of the things that we talked about, like Super Hoosiers, I was like, the pool is 50 meters, when he measures the free throw.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
But I said, I want everybody to practice the national anthem. Like, we need to expect to be up there.
Oh yeah.
And
Love it.
we want everybody to sing it. And you get up there and we've had people faint, and all that stuff. And so when I was there, when I was winning the silver medal, not so much, but like when I was clearly, because it's not my anthem, but when I was standing there with my teammates in those relays and we were holding hands, like, waving together, and then the national anthem comes on and you're singing it, I'm just like, be here, be
Yeah.
here, be here. Like I must have said that to myself
Well,
like 100 times
let's go
because
there a second. Let's go there. So you're standing on a podium. Okay. Pick one of the medals. Pick your best memory. What are you wearing?
the required uniform,
Yeah.
which
What does it look like?
was it was our Reebok outfits. And if you remember the dream team, there was Reebok on the side and they were all Nike basketball players. So they all like pinned their collars over.
Okay.
We have a manager who makes sure that we brush our hair.
Okay.
You have to make sure that it's zipped up properly.
Yeah.
So when you're there, it's surreal in the sense like 70,000 people just watched you swim with a giant piece of rubber on your head in a bathing
Yeah.
suit and yelling USA, USA, throwing flags at you, saying your name and all that stuff. And it's everything that you saw on TV, except for like now you're in it.
Yeah.
So that's
And
why
so you're in the Reebok outfit. I think you showed me the jacket when we met at that
I
Starbucks with
did.
the
I took it
medals.
to when we
You had
did CrossFit together.
Yeah, you had the jacket. I remember that.
Yeah.
So you're in the jacket. You had your hair brushed. Do you
Which
remember
doesn't
them
happen
brushing
very
your hair?
often. I did brush my hair for you tonight, though.
Okay, I can see that. The picture you sent over for the episode was really nice. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. That's me
Yeah.
filmed. But that be like when I was saying like be here. Like I say this to people who are getting married. Like enjoy, like be there. Don't
Yeah.
worry about the next thing. Don't worry about, oh my God, I forgot my shoes and everybody knows I'm wearing. No, nobody knows. The wedding is still happening. Be there. Be like you're learning a new job. You're worried about like the next like step of your baby. I can't wait till they roll over. I can't wait till they walk. I can't wait till no. Just like be there.
Well, I will tell you one thing. For the last hour and 20 minutes, I've been right here. And I
Same.
think this is a great place for us to wrap. I could talk to you for the next 3 hours about this. If you'd have it, I'd like to have you back on in about 6 months because I think we've got so much more to talk about.
I would love that. Would love that.
I can't thank you enough for coming on and spending some time with me tonight and letting everybody know what I already knew, but then I even know way more now than I did back when we shared some sweat on the rubber floor at the CrossFit gym.
And beg for mercy.
You were just such a positive force. I'll tell you a funny story you never knew. You remember my friend Don? We met. You put the medals on him, right? Who said to say hello, by the way? Don's a great dude. I've been friends with him for 40 years. Don is he likes to encourage people, and you might have been like at the we just finished a WOD and he came to the gym and you're like, oh, so hard. I don't think I can ever do that again. And you just like, and I see like, like the Cobra's coming up, like he's getting ready to come and give you a few pearls of wisdom about never giving up and doing all this stuff. And so I see him take like a half a step towards you and I grab the back of his shirt and I go, chink, chink, and I just pull it back. I'm like, dude, Olympic medalist, 2 golds and a silver, 92 Barcelona. He started tearing. He started tearing because he was like, because he was like, but like you said about people and the accomplishments in the Olympics, about how, Americans get behind our athletes out there. But, first of all, he was like, I saved him from himself because he would have felt like such a stooger if he was trying to give you advice. Right. But then it was like, he had you got 25 golds that day. You really did. And when you met us at Starbucks,
I love it. I love it. If that is a doorway for someone that wants to talk to me about what they did before me, they want to talk about their grandkid. They want to tell me that they were on their high school swim team. I'm like, dude, we live the dream together. Like, you want to talk about CrossFit? It's the same thing. Like, we are the people in the arena.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And
one of my favorite passages, by the way.
Yes. And that makes you like simpatico with someone else. Like all of a sudden you have a connection. So, you talk about being Italian, probably Catholic, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
We probably have a lot in common growing up in Catholic school and church members. We also like sports. And we also like meat. Like there are certain things where doors are just open with people And if it's the Olympics and that's gonna make someone like Dawn wanna chat with me, I love it. I
That's
love
awesome.
it.
Well, thank you again.
You're the best.
You
Thank you
are
for inviting me.
amazing. Stick around for a minute. Right, hold on. Have a great night.